Oh, dude, we got to talk about this. This has been on my mind all week. Is menthol cigs, dude.
Oh,
They
they
might be
got
going out the
banned,
window.
right?
I don't think they
Yeah.
were banned. I think they're on the. I think there's a bill being proposed or like some type of thing going on. I don't think it's. I was gonna say I don't think it's going to pass. I can't imagine that passing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what would happen. That'd be crazy if like there's a prohibition on like Newports,
Doesn't that
Camel Crushes, dude. You gotta get them shipped from overseas.
don't so many of these like policy, because I think the and I haven't heard this straight from the horse's mouth,
Yeah.
but I've heard in passing that the justification for this menthol ban is that cigarettes disproportionately affect minority communities because they smoke more, which is a statistical fact. But hey, I smoke cigs too. And so, I guess I'm a minority. I don't fucking know. My point is that you're talking about banning something that minorities do. So because I guess menthol, like you're talking about saying, okay, minorities smoke menthol cigarettes, which means they're disproportionately affected by the, effects of cigarette smoking. So we're going to ban it. But really you're saying like, hey, all you people that do this thing, you can't do it anymore and it's for your own good. We're going to make that decision for you, minorities, that you're no longer allowed to smoke menthol cigs. And specifically menthol, because we know how much you like menthols. We know how much you guys love your menthols. So no more of that. It's like, dude, like, isn't that kind of racist? Like, why? When did we lose?
Yeah, it's just kind of weird because it's like, okay, so you're banning this, but you're letting regular cigarettes be fine still, or like,
I just, first of all, the amount of people that I've talked to that didn't seem to have, like Garrett Harvest, who smokes menthol cigs, was like, yeah, I guess I don't see a problem. I'm like, dude, how does that not bother you a little bit, dude? Like, look, if they ban menthol cigs, it's like, is it going to ruin my life? No. I enjoy cigarettes. And here's the big thing, the most important thing. When did we lose any respect for free will in this country? When did it become so commonplace to just tell people what they can and can't do?
yeah, when did the government become our parents?
Yes. And look, I might not be the best person to talk about this because I've gone public and saying that I've never really heard, and this is a,
Yeah, I don't know anything about what we're talking about right now.
I've never heard a convincing argument for why any drug shouldn't be legal. And I know that most people don't agree with me on that. I think that, I guess in my opinion, I take the whole my body, my choice thing to a whole other level. Why should another adult be able to tell me, an adult, what I can and can't do with my fucking body? Why can't I go to a fucking party once every 8 months and do a line of coke as a responsible adult? I'm so like, why? It really, when you think about it, it's like, I just did this thing and like, look, I understand that it can lead to this other thing, but like, if you go about it responsibly, which plenty of people do, there's people that do. There's people that, there was this guy, this fucking doctor or something that talked about how like he'll just do like a little bit of heroin every day. I'm not advocating for that. I'm not advocating for these things.
Don't do that if you're a doctor.
Yeah, don't do that. It's the easiest place to get it, I guess. Don't do it. But it's like so much of this shit, what happens is like, what's the biggest issue with the heroin epidemic and things like that is that these people are going in, they're getting prescribed these completely legal medications that are being overprescribed to people because those doctors definitely do get kickbacks, and the medical industry definitely does get kickbacks from the pharmaceutical industry to overprescribe those drugs, which is why every other fucking kid in our school growing up was on Ritalin or Adderall or something like that. Most of those kids did not need to be on that. Look, I'm sorry, ADHD may not be a real thing, but like, it is definitely not the amount of kids that were doing daily doses of Adderall. That's fucking bullshit. And those doctors, I told that story countless times on here, but like the fact that fucking psychologist met me for 30 minutes and within 30 minutes, he felt as if it was appropriate to prescribe me a daily dose of methamphetamine, which is what that shit is. It's like, that's the the criteria, that's the threshold that you have to meet to be prescribed basically an addiction from early childhood, it's way overprescribed. And those companies make money doing that, and they make money telling you that the only solution to your problem, whatever it may be, is taking their drugs. The drugs that's never going to cure you, the drug that you're constantly going to need to figure out ways to pay for it. And then so you go in these hospitals, you get prescribed these drugs, and then you can't get them anymore, you can't afford them anymore, and so now you need to take to the streets to get them. And I'm not saying that's how everybody gets into it, but that's how a lot of people get into it, how a lot of people get these addictions. I mean, of course, there's people that, you know, get addicted to coke just because they party too much, and then it becomes a habit that they can't kick, you know? I guess what I'm getting at is I think a lot of those problems could be solved if, you know, if instead of having this black market for all these things where, you know, cocaine is being mixed up in somebody's fucking basement, cut with fentanyl, and you know, heroin is being cut with this other shit, and people are dying because they got bad shit. It's like, I think so many of those issues could be solved if we had a better way of approaching it that wasn't just sweeping it under the rug, because that's really what we're doing. Heroin being illegal has never stopped anyone from doing heroin that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
You know, it's never stopped, you know, when weed was illegal, it didn't stop people that wanted to smoke weed from smoking weed. They just figured out a way to get it. People are doing coke that want to do coke. Anybody I've ever met who wants to do coke is doing coke. The fact that it's illegal is not having any bearing on that, other than the fact that, oh shit, you know, make sure you don't do this and that so no cop catches you. But they're still fucking doing coke. There's ways to get it. So it's like, why not just make it a little bit more like, hey, we see what you're doing, you know, this, that, the other thing, like. And now we're talking about, it was bad enough when, you know, okay, look. You used to be able to smoke cigs when you were 18, right? You used to be able to drink beer when you were 18. Actually, I think you were able to drink, at one point, I think you were able to drink beer and liquor when you were 18. I think when our parents were growing up, it was beer when you're 18, but you can't drink liquor until you're 21. And then all drinking became 21. Cigs were 18 the whole time we were growing up until like super recently.
Yeah.
Now you have to be 21 for that. And I know this is a cliche, like, you know, overstated point at this point, but doesn't it strike anybody as mildly curious that we've decided as a society that at 18 years old, you're not responsible enough to smoke a cigarette. You're not responsible enough to have a drink, but you are responsible enough to sign up for the army and fly overseas and get shot at. You're responsible enough.
I feel like when you're in the army, you can probably just they get cigarettes and beer shipped to them and
That's
shit. I'm
probably
sure
why they
fucking
sign up
drink
for the
and
army.
smoke. Yeah.
It's just easier.
Yeah.
Who's gonna tell me I can't? Dude, we're going fucking Syria, dude. You think I had drinking ages over there?
Just go to Canada, dude. It's 18 in Canada.
Yeah. Dude, so much of this shit just and then on the other hand, you'd have people talking about lowering the voting age to 16. And it's like, okay, so now a 16-year-old is responsible. You know, a 16-year-old is responsible enough to vote for tax codes and public policy and the president and all these other things that have great effects on people's lives.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's going to be 5 years before they're able to smoke a fucking Camel. It's like, can we just decide an age as a society that says, hey, you're an adult now. And then just say, hey, you're an adult now. You can do adult shit. Whatever that age is, I'm cool with whatever age it is, dude. I wouldn't have a problem if that age was 25.
Yeah.
I think you should be 25 to vote. I think you should. Maybe 21. Let's say 21.
Yeah,
I think that's better.
21 is pretty good.
21 is better. Okay. 21, I think that's a good middle ground. I think we've already established 21 for so many other things. 21, smoke a cigarette, fine. 21 to
take
drink.
a shot, cast a vote, smoke a cigarette after.
Yeah, and then take a shot at somebody, like for real, in the military. Like, it's just, you can just tell that all these ages are so arbitrarily selected based off of who it benefits. It benefits people to lower the voting age because, you know, the younger you are, the more susceptible you are to whatever you're being fucking told. I didn't know dick about politics when I was 16. I didn't know dick about anything when I was 16. I had ideas.
Your politics were whatever you like might have heard your parents say.
Yeah. I didn't even know the difference between a Republican and a Democrat until I was like 24.
Yeah, for real.
Like, I didn't know the difference. I just didn't care. And it's like, okay, 24, maybe that's a lot further along than most people, but also, you know, you also have to factor in that when we were 24, politics was not at the forefront of every fucking conversation we ever had. Like, it was a very background thing. Like, I don't think that any of us would have been able to. I don't think like when we were 24, I'm like, oh yeah, Eric's a Republican or Eric's a Democrat or Scott's this. Like we didn't know, you know, we didn't even think about it. So like, okay, 25 is pushing it. Sure, you still got to be 25 to rent a car, whatever. But like, why not just 21 for everything then, dude? And
Yeah, why not?
And why not when you're 21 instead of
Or just go back to 18.
Well, look, I support 18 to do that, and the fact of the matter is, dude, if you're 18 years old and you can't figure out how to get booze and a cigarette, then maybe you should wait till you're 21.
Yeah. If you're 18, you're in college and you're probably already drinking anyway.
But yeah, I think 21 is a fair middle ground. And then after that, why not just let people do what the fuck they want to do? If that means smoking, like, back to the back.
Menthol cigarettes are for 30-year-olds and older. That's it.
yeah. It seems like we're trying to legislate. And this is why it kind of bugs me a little bit, because whenever one thing happens and then you say, oh, well, you know, this is just normalizing this, and then the next thing you know, this is going to happen, what they call the slippery slope argument. It's like, okay, I understand how when one thing happens that, you know, it seems kind of shocking at first, but then you get used to it. It becomes quote unquote normalized. And then you start talking about the next step, and then people are like, oh, dude, you're just getting way out there. But it is becoming this trend where it's just always another thing. It's just always another thing. It starts with like, you know, to the point where now we're talking about it. And look, cigarettes, not that big of a deal. It's not that I don't mind. It's not that, like I said before, that I'm going to be like, oh, fuck, like I can't smoke a cigarette anymore or legally, whatever. I got to call it my cig dealer. I got to call it my crush dealer now, you know? I got him on fucking speed dial. But it's just this idea that we're becoming so accustomed and complacent with these other adults that we vote in and pay for to make policies for us, to tell us how to live our lives.
I just don't get it, because it's a thing where it's like, no one thinks cigarettes are good for you. And I'm sure like menthol, whatever, like, you know, you get like the cooling effect or like the mint, whatever. I don't know if that's good for you either. Probably not, but like
it's in cough drops, I think.
You're already like signing up to do something that's not good for your body.
Yeah.
Why like limit that choice?
Like, and this is something, I mean, even dude, when they imposed seatbelt laws in the 70s, people freaked out. People freaked out because they got pissed off that they were thinking like, well, you know, and like looking back, because we grew up in an era where, you know, it was just normal to buck, click it or ticket, dude, you know, but like our grandparents grew up in a time when like, dude, you could fucking drive drunk. My grandfather, you know, would drive drunk home from a bar, and a cop would pull him over and be like, dude, where the fuck are you going? And then they just fucking escort him home. It wasn't a thing until like Mothers Against Drunk Driving came out and made it this big thing. It's like, yeah, okay, I can understand that, because drunk driving doesn't just affect you, it affects other people.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm not saying we shouldn't have that be a thing. Now, should it be as big of a fucking thing as it is? I don't think so. I think they definitely take advantage of that shit. I think they definitely ruin people's fucking financial situations for, you know, nothing. But there's different levels to it, I would say. But it just always seems like we're just going one step further. And then what's worse is you have people arguing for it. And it's like, you have people that like, it's like they're presented a situation, and then instead of like thinking about why maybe that isn't right, their mind immediately goes to, well, let me just use all my brain power to explain why this is the right move. Like, people are so good at justifying why they think what they're supposed to think. It's like, and then if you say like, hey dude, why can't like you not smoke a cig and then I do? Why can't we just do that? Why can't you just live your life and then I live my life? When did that become such a controversial idea? You know? And so I don't know. I don't think the bill's going to pass, because I'm interested to see what the polling data is on public support for that, you know?
Yeah. So wait, who introduced the bill? Do you know?
I mean, it's hard to tell. I've heard Biden. I've heard, I don't think Biden directly did. I literally don't know. I think it's being introduced on the Democrat side of the aisle. It may be Biden, but I don't know. But yeah, honestly, like I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I haven't looked into it that much. I just heard menthol ban, and I just decided to talk about it for 30 minutes. So I don't know.
I dug it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who's introducing it, but that's the main point. Is I don't care. Like, if I'm a more conservative leaning person, and it winds up being a conservative, I still disagree with it. It doesn't matter who introduced it to me. It's a bad fucking idea, in my opinion. It's not even a political thing. It's a matter of allowing these people to control us, and they're way overstepping their fucking boundaries, dude. You can't legislate consciousness, dude. You can't legislate people's lives like that.
You can't take away a man's crush.
You can't. And honestly, like Matt made a good point. Like Matt has been laying off cigarettes lately. He was a big time smoker, which amazed me because he was talking about like, how the average smoker smokes a pack a day. And I was like, Matt Brown this is, because now I also have Matt Pennington who records here too. So I got to distinguish now. Matt Brown, but Matt Pennington also smokes cigs as well. But I don't think he smokes menthols. He's a true white boy. He smokes regulars, dude. Me and Matt, we fucking go for it. But, Matt's laying off the cigs, but he's like, and it's not exactly the argument that I would make. Have you noticed I'm like really starting to pronounce argument right lately?
Yeah.
I'm
You're
really
doing a good job, dude.
consciously making an effort to do that now, which is saying a lot. But it's not a point that I would make because I don't normally lean in these type of ways. But he was saying like, so many people go through life and they have like different ways of coping with whatever things they're going through, whether it's depression or anxiety. And certain people take pills and like Xanaxes and Valiums and all this other stuff, and they drink or whatever it is that they're doing. And for so many people, like a cigarette is a way of coping with shit. Like if you get really strung up and I just need a fucking cigarette to calm down, it's like you're deciding no, you can't cope with your anxiety with a cigarette anymore. You're only allowed to cope with your anxiety by taking these fucking benzos that we subscribe to you. It's like, or prescribe to you. And it's like, you're deciding, like, for so many people, again, I don't think that I use cigs that way. I just think I use them just because I don't know what else to fucking do and I'm on the podcast or whatever. But, like, I think that is the case for a lot of people. I mean, cigs make me more anxious. Mm-hmm. I smoke cigarettes to get more anxious. But I guess for a lot of people, it is a valid point, I thought, that just, like, you're taking away something from people that just like so many other things people use to cope. And is it a healthy way of coping? No.
But neither is like binge eating or drinking to excess or whatever else.
Exactly.
Like everything is a vice.
Mm-hmm. And that's a very valid point too, is what you just said about the binge eating and stuff. It's like, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, obesity is the leading cause of premature death in America, more so than smoking-related complications. And at the same time, we're going on this crusade against smoking because it's this terrible, terrible thing that's killing millions and billions of people. We're on the same vein, kind of glorifying this acceptance of just being like, and I'm not getting into that whole like, like I'm not going that direction. I am saying like there has been a move in our society to kind of like
I would completely understand if they had to ban McDonald's. Like I would be very upset. I'd be sad, but I'd understand it more so than I understand like the menthol ban.
Yeah. I get it, but at the same time, I wouldn't support it because I'd be like, look, dude, like I am a grown person, and if I wanted to, I could eat McDonald's every day. There's a McDonald's a couple blocks away from me, dude. I could eat fast food every day of my life if I wanted to, and every person in this country could do the same. It's the cheapest food available. It's the most accessible. You go there, you could eat like shit all day, every day if you wanted to. Most people don't. Some people do. Some people indulge. Some people overeat to the point where it causes health complications. And that's true. But does that mean that is now a justification to take it away from everybody? Should I not be able to, on a Saturday night, after playing a gig, drinking a couple beers, smoking a cigarette with my friends, talking outside, and say, you know what? I'm fucking hungry. It's 2 a.m. I'm going to McDonald's. I'm getting a fucking quarter pounder, a Big Mac, a filet of fish, and a McChicken, large fries. I'm doing it. Why? Because I don't do this all the fucking time. And everybody, I think, would agree that you should have the right to do that, you know? And if you decide that you're going to ban fast food and unhealthy foods because it's causing certain people issues, then I would raise that same argument for cigarettes or anything else. It's like, yeah, certain people overdo it. Certain people will smoke 3 packs a day. I don't. Most people I know don't smoke 3 packs a day. You know, it's like I don't know. It's just, it all comes back to the same point, I guess, is what I'm making. That like, why don't you just focus on the shit that matters, and anything that has to do with my personal life and my personal decisions, just stay the hell out of it. Just stay the hell out of it. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's that fucking simple. But apparently it's not.